Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This is your boy Savio Juice.
Sandeep.
In this video, we are going to do yet another movie review of the new and trending Malayalam movie Malik.
Yes.
So Malik is a 2021 Indian Malayalam language political thriller film directed, written and edited by Mahesh Narayanan. How cool is that?
So cool.
The movie is produced by Anto Joseph, starring Fahad Fasil, Vinay Fort and Nimisha Sajayan, with Joju George, Dilish Pothan and Indran playing supporting roles in this movie. The music was composed by Sushin Shyam.
A high-level synopsis of Malik could be Malayalam's Nayakan. Just like Maniratnam's classic Nayakan, the film is a story about crime and punishment that spans across decades ranging from 1965 to 2018. Nayakan is set in Mumbai, of course, and Malik is set in Namdapalli, a fictional coastal village in the state of Kerala. And you can draw comparisons on how both the films are set in a sea backdrop, which basically provide the basis for smuggling and romance in both the films.
Absolutely. In both the films, the protagonists are lawless and criminal in nature, but yet have a strong moral center. Velu Naikar and Sulaiman Malik operate as monarchs in their respective areas that aim to protect, but their lives are filled with violence and loss. Likewise,
Yeah.
these characters age as we watch the film progress, and their lives are tainted by tragedy.
So the film basically starts with a 13-minute no-cut sequence that sets up the basic premise for the entire movie. That when it goes forward, right. So the entire sequence, is short, flawless.
Yeah.
It's well stitched together. Basically, what happens is that when the movie opens up, you can see Sulaiman, which is played by Fahad Fazil. He's a staunch believer of Islam. Sorry. And you can also see his authority as a godfather to the poor and needy in his area, and also his relationships with his people, his family and friends, and the politicians. This basically set up the entire movie's themes across religion, caste, power, politics, and ultimately politicians who poison everything.
Correct. Though the film runs for 2 hours 40 minutes, that's quite a bit long in my opinion. The storytelling does not weigh down. Trust me. Mahesh Narayanan, he's absolutely fantastic. He's the kind of person who multitasks as a director, writer, editor, and also sometimes as a second unit camera operator.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And he structures this whole movie as a novel.
Yes.
The story begins in a contemporary time, and the 3 flashbacks by different narrators with different viewpoints bring all of us to speed on what created the current circumstances.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And also, when Sulaiman Malik is first introduced, he's shown as the king of the jungle. His face seems hollowed out, and then, with sorrow, basically. You can see the sadness in his face. I mean, normally when you have someone in that kind of power, you expect them to be, happy.
Right.
And then, someone with confidence. But there seems to be certain sorrowness in his face, and his shoulders are hunched under the burden of what he kind of went through over time, and what he has endured, basically, right? When his wife tells him that there's danger if he steps outside of the house, then he says, I have quit all my ungodly work. Whom should I be afraid of?
Yeah.
And and there's like a certain majesty about him, and the power that comes from the position that he is in.
Yeah. To me, it felt like he kind of transcended his power, and he just believed in God, and he was ready to go wherever
Exactly.
the God wanted him to go.
Exactly. And he says that.
Yeah, and even if it meant death, he was ready to take that.
Exactly. It just tells you that imagine a person, right? How much he has to be pushed to a point that he would be ready for death. That perfectly sets up the character of Sulaiman Malik.
Yeah. And his formidable spirit is in place even when Sulaiman is a very petty smuggler,
Yeah.
In the 1980s, in his prime time of his career, when the crime begins with bringing in and smuggling in colognes and selling them for 50 rupees, that was pretty funny because he had not done his homework, but yet so clever, and that was, I guess, his start to his entire career. But even as Sulaiman was breaking the law, he's still helping to clean up the garbage around the masjid in Ramadapalli and ultimately constructs his school.
Yeah.
So he does all of that for a greater and better purpose.
Yeah, there are two different viewpoints. A person can be selfish. Like let's say if I'm a smuggler, right? I'm earning my money. I'm cheating people. I'm cheating the government. He steals from the merchant navy and then he just sells it out. I can either be selfish, admittedly selfish, and just care about what I want, or I can do the other thing.
Yeah.
From the start, he always thought about giving back to the people.
Correct.
Because there's this particular scene that explains how his father's dead body is under the trash beneath the mosque, like at the mosque.
Right.
And he feels so bad that he can't even
do anything
about it.
Yeah.
I think that is like the motivation for his moral center.
Correct.
Sulaiman, like we know in the movie, is a nation builder and he's a humanist. That underline the point humanist because that's going to be marked pretty evident as the movie progresses. Right. He marries a Christian girl, Rosalind. At that point of time in the movie, that was a time when the tensions were so high.
Correct.
Between both the communities. But even then, he doesn't ask her to convert to her faith or leave her faith behind. Yeah. That's such a sweet gesture. Throughout his life, he always been kind of resisting all the parochial limitations that were set by his religion. And how the school that is going to be built is not only be for Muslims, it's also is supposed to be for Christians as well.
Correct.
Evidently, like we went to school. I don't think any school should be like, you're a Christian. You should not enter the school.
It should not be based on
you're a Dalit. You should not enter the school. And I think the time period when this all happened was the 1980s. Like when he was in his mid-20s or something.
Right.
Like you can see him matured already.
Yeah.
At that point of time, taking that kind of step is a really difficult thing.
Correct.
Especially when there was not much awareness. Right now, it's like the 2020s and there's like a lot of opposition to such kind of acts and everything. But during that time, taking that step, as a single person, it requires a lot of courage and everything.
Yeah.
Sulaiman's life is basically, rooted in his faith, like deeply rooted in his faith and also what he believes in. And you can see that over the entire film, like Sulaiman's closest friend and partner in crime, David, when they both sit together at the lake with the Jesus statue overlooking the mosque. I think that's one of the best scenes.
Correct.
Because it's basically directorial brilliance.
Yeah.
The director is basically saying that, it's like the same thing. Like, just God is a single entity. Like, religions are something that
transcends religion. Yeah.
Humanity and faith basically transcends religion and caste.
Yeah. And that was when he actually asked for his sister's hand in marriage, which was actually very sweet because he had a certain agenda, but also he got what he wanted.
Exactly. And also, I think that's the point when the entire conflict begins as well in the movie.
Yes. So, like you said, the Muslims and Christians of Ramadapalli are turned against each other from that point onwards by police and politicians, and issues like, obviously, because there was a lot of poverty, illiteracy and desperate desire for each of the communities to make a better life and to prove it to the other community, so to speak.
The gangster saga. The reason why I say it is a gangster saga, the word saga, is because it's an epic. It's an epic. Basically anchored with or supported by a stellar cast with really strong performances. Like Vinay as David, Jojo George as the collector, and Anwar as David's son Freddy, Dilish Potan as the politician Abu, and Jalaja as Sulaiman's mother are all stellar in their own roles.
Correct.
And the best part is Rosalind.
Yeah, she did an amazing job.
Which is played by Nimsha Sajan, and she's someone who is portrayed as an educated woman who is capable of strength.
Yes.
As strength, basically.
Yeah.
She's a strong motivation force or a strong pillar to Sulaiman Malik.
Correct. And we could totally see that because when he was in bars, she took control of the entire situation. Not just taking control, but she was actually threatening people. I was super impressed by that.
Yes. And also, she's capable of strategy, like you said. And she makes a fitting partner for Sulaiman Malik.
Yeah. So the chance to play the lifetime of a character from a young 21-year-old to a senior citizen is something that an actor dreams. It's an actor's dream.
Exactly.
And Fahad he did a tremendously good job with that.
Oh yes.
He hit all the right notes for each stage of Suleiman. The sweetness of his passion for Rosalind, the fatigue of his failure to reduce violence and communalism, and his sad longing to make changes and come to peace with his friends, with his religion.
Yes.
It kind of portrays Suleiman in a majestical character.
True.
Yeah,
it's funny how you mentioned the word fatigue, because I would have been pissed if they kind of provided a solution for the entire conflict.
right.
Let's
Because
say,
that just is not realistic.
exactly.
Because there are certain things that are beyond control.
Exactly.
And that's what we kind of liked about this character, right?
Exactly.
Because he was shown as a person with control, but also humanist, like we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Basically says that no matter how powerful you are, there are some things that can be changed.
Yes.
And providing a solution, like for example, let's say that if the director kind of chose to give a temporary solution, even a temporary solution, that would have been really contradictory with the entire premise of the movie.
Correct.
Because every time protagonist was trying to do something, there was some force which was making him to go 2 steps back.
Correct.
Whether it be the politicians or whether it be the police or the bureaucracy in the country. For once, it was a pleasure to watch. Absolute pleasure to watch the raw truth.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to watch something that's as organic
Yeah.
as it can be. There's no solution. Like we know that
There is no sugar coating.
exactly.
It is all raw.
Yeah, for example, we know that the issue of caste has been prevailing in the country for the past 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And politicians and bureaucracy likewise always kind of try to make use of that single point as their agenda for their campaign every time.
Yeah.
And that's how the entire the violence and hatred, so you can just solve it within 2-hour movie.
Yeah. It's a much bigger and broader concept than
exactly
what we all can comprehend in the first place.
Exactly.
All of that, and also like the music by Sushan Shan was so brilliant, because the whole tragic drama of religion and violence was enhanced by his music, which is mournful and haunting, at the same time. And there was one sequence that cuts between a funeral and a violence that echoes.
Basically a fight scene.
Yeah.
Like especially when that scene where you remember, I think it's Vinay Fort. He comes back on the motorcycle, then there's an explosion in the behind, like that go down that they have, and there are kids that die.
That was a U-turn of the...
Yeah. Like that's the moment when you felt that everything was going right. And like Suleiman met his mother, and she was like finally happy to see him.
Only to know that was a downfall.
Yeah. And that's when basically like everything went down, and he goes and kills Chandran.
Yeah.
It's basically like you have a similar scene in Godfather. Malik in no way is an imitation of Godfather.
Yeah.
It's not an imitation.
It is not an imitation, for sure. I agree with you on that. With the way they have filmed it, and with whatever they have done with this movie, I can see why people would try to compare this movie with Godfather or Rise, for that matter, from Hollywood.
Or Nayakan.
Or Nayakan. In my opinion, and to also give my final thoughts on this movie, in my opinion, Malik is a movie in itself, and this should not be compared with any other movie. And one thing that I really liked about this movie is that there is no closure.
Yes.
It just ends at where it is supposed to end.
Yeah.
No extra drama, no closure, just portrays what the raw situation was back in those days.
Yes.
So I totally enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, and I think I believe that closure is an overrated subject. You can never get closure. What you can get is reasons for why something didn't work.
Correct.
You can never get closure in life. And my final thoughts would be, I have been a fan of Fahad Fazil since 2013 or 2014, Bangalore days. Like that's when I first watched Fahad Fazil. Right. Since then, movies like Irul, Joji was and Mahesh Inte Pratikaram. See you soon.
Yeah. That is a good one as well.
That's a good one. Yeah. I think if anyone had big releases or successful career during the pandemic, it was only Fahad Fazil.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've seen all of his movies in the pandemic time.
I've seen only his movies, basically.
And I'm not even surprised with the fact that there was no closure in this movie, because one of his previous movies had no closure as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unique and kind of brilliant,
yes.
because at a certain point, as a creative filmmaker, you surpass everyone's expectation from you, and you just do what you want to do.
Yes,
And
yes.
if that means like not having a closure, so be it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about most of the movies that have been made, which has Fahad Fasil involved in some way.
Exactly.
You know.
Malayalam cinema industry climbed one step higher
Yeah.
with Malik, and it's not an exaggeration at all to say that like currently Malayalam industry is reigning the box office, or is the best film industry among the entire country. Last and final thoughts, I won't take too much of time. Malik is just absolute. It's an absolute bliss to watch the man perform, Fahad Fazil perform, and everything come together properly. Because the problem with Gangster Saga is that if it is not executed properly, it's going to be so bad. It would be so bad. We enjoyed watching the movie a lot. You know, I'm hoping that Fahad will come up with such kind of interesting movies soon. In the future, near future, again and again. Yeah, please let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And just an FYI, we will have a reaction series on this movie, so please watch out for that one. And it was fun doing this review with you, Sandeep. I hope you guys really were able to connect with our reviews. And please do let us know what we missed out of our review that you thought stood out from the movie. Drop a comment in the comment box and let us know. That was it for this video. We'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, time out. If you guys like this video, you guys know the drill. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon notification button so you don't miss any other update. And if you guys have more such videos, please do send them our way. All of the details will be in the description box below.
And don't forget to check out our other videos and follow us on social media.